What's up, everybody? It is Friday, January 10th. Happy Founders Day if you're in Talk App Epsilon. My name is Spencer Schultz, and I am solo on the eve of the Pittsburgh Steelers for the first time in their storied rivals' history come to Baltimore to play the Ravens in a playoff game. So it's time. What else is there to say? It's the fifth night of playoffs. We have some news that comes out today. We'll get into a little bit. Not going to stay on here terribly long, as I'm actually meeting up with Jake. Should be here shortly, and we're going to go meet up with Cole and some Canadians and go watch this college football semifinal that's about to pop on. So with that in mind, my friends, the obvious news here is that Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, well, not Derrick Henry, second team, but Lamar Jackson, Roquan Smith, Marlon Humphrey named to the AP, the Associated Press, first team All-Pro. Lamar Jackson takes 109 total points and 31st place points to edge out Josh Allen, who got 78 points, 18 first place votes, and then Joe Burrow got 13 with 2 first place votes as well, putting Allen as a second team All-Pro. Derrick Henry ends up finishing second to Saquon Barkley. Barkley finishes with 146, 58 first place votes. Derrick Henry got the only other 2. Pat Ricard, of course, named first team All-Pro as well. He got 27 out of 50. Kyle Juszczyk, former Raven, gets 22. And then the only other one was CJ Ham to get another there. That was it for the Ravens offensive All-Pros. Defensively, Roquan Smith comes in third, which gets him at the third linebacker spot. He came in behind Zach Bond, who had a hell of a year, who got 44 first place votes, 138 total points. Fred Warner finishes with 117 points. He got 36. Roquan Smith just behind them with 71 points, 20 votes. Frankie Louvu in fourth place there, and Bobby Wagner just beyond. Cornerback-wise, the Ravens got no votes because Marlon Humphrey is named the highest vote getter for slot cornerbacks, of which there's only one position. So he kind of gets that nickel All-Pro, which is interesting to me. I heard some interesting comments from Dan Orlovsky about his assessment on Pardon My Take of, what's gone right for the Ravens defense. Marlon Humphrey gets 92 votes, 26 first-place votes. Derwin James gets 13. Cooper DeJean gets 6. Couple others get a couple votes there too. Kyle Hamilton ends up on the second team, finishes third place beyond Xavier McKinney and Kirby Joseph there. So those are your All-Pros. Obviously, the big drama of the day is with that in mind. Lamar Jackson quickly overtook Josh Allen in betting odds, FanDuel, DraftKings, everybody. All-Pro team comes out. Some folks were able to go grab that Lamar Jackson plus 325, plus 350, wherever it was, but a couple minutes after it came out. You could catch DraftKings slipping. So if you did, congrats to you, as it would be not unprecedented, but almost unprecedented for Lamar Jackson not to win his third MVP. And of course, it's just funny because we get into this hyper fixation on MVP at the end of the season every year, especially the last couple of years, but really every year dating back as long as I can remember. And then now we don't hear anything for a month, until the week before the Super Bowl when the NFL does the awards. So hopefully Lamar Jackson's not there to accept his third trophy, the MV3. And a lot of people, a lot of Bills fans, a lot of that noise of Bills fans, things like that. I know a lot of Ravens fans have been getting into it. I've definitely participated in just some of that discourse as well. Vossen Fitness here says Friday beers, MV3, Super Bowl MVP, a lot of that, a lot of things circulating around. 3-time MVP, Super Bowl MVP. A lot of commentary about that. And so folks are some kind of crashing out. There's the big thing where someone shared a chat GPT screenshot of odds of the previous winners during week 18. And I don't think that was very accurate. You would need to pull that from one individual book, maybe MGM or something like that. They would need to give you their odds. I would have questions about that. A lot of them were flat, like minus 300, minus 200. It's oftentimes not an even line like that. So if you are still looking for tickets, I do have some. If you're looking to sell tickets, I would encourage you, if you are not financially strained by doing so, let them go a little cheaper than whatever you see on like Game Time or something like that. Get some Ravens fans in the seats. I've helped a few folks this week. I'm looking to help a couple more. Mark here says, Pat Ricard, underrated comeback story with the injuries he had a few seasons ago. Yeah, I mean, he was in free agency. He went to free agency, and the story was that he basically didn't get the offers he thought he was going to get. And so he was like, I messed up. And he called Justin Tucker. I think he met up with Justin. The story is that he met up with Justin Tucker in Annapolis, I think, in Ego Alley in Annapolis, and was like, what do I do? And Tucker was like, call Harbaugh. Just call Harbs. Ricard called Harbaugh, and Eric DaCosta got the deal done there. So I think these all pros, these Ravens that were named to it really show the Ravens being calm and the way they develop and the way that they stick with their guys. Roquan Smith, Marlon Humphrey, I think of Ronnie Stanley. I think of a lot of these first-round picks like Kyle Hamilton. Tyler Linderbaum ended up finishing third in voting, so he wasn't on the second team. Of course, there's only 2 centers that get put on an all-pro team, but he would have been third. So a lot of these guys, man, they have a plan. Best player available in Kyle Hamilton. Linderbaum was kind of a need. I think that was BPA as well. I think of Adafe Owe. I think of Ronnie Stanley. I think of Ricard. I think of Rashad Bateman, Justice Hill. A lot of these guys that the Ravens have drafted with a plan. And the plan seems to be in synchronicity with development. And I think that is the part that is hardest for someone like me and anyone who loves the NFL draft and you love to try to quantify everything, rank prospects, who should go where, first round grade, second round grade, top 10 grade, day 3 player. A lot of it's development, man. A lot of it's going to the, it's not, I don't want to say the right spot. There's probably a few right spots, but most players probably only have like a couple different roles that they could fill well, and getting guys to increase their technical ability and understand what they need to grow in order to become skilled enough, not talented enough, but skilled enough to fulfill that role is something that I think makes the Ravens a really good front office. I think that's why they have such a good reputation around the league, and the continuity between the coaching staff and the front office and the plan for development. The coaching staff wants certain roles to be filled. They want their team to function a certain way on a football field. The front office, when you have differing opinions about what that is, you end up with a bunch of different coaches and GMs. When you don't have that, look at Vrabel and Robinson, and then the shuffle that's gone on there in Tennessee, they are not aligned. Being aligned is extremely important, and also having a healthy relationship where you don't feel like one is in true power to the degree where it's just like the assistant to the general manager, the Dwight Schrute versus the Michael Scott there. So all of those things are really interesting to me. And you do have to give kudos to the Ravens, who have figured out, despite some brain drain, despite losing 4,000 defensive snaps last year, despite a rocky start, despite losing coaches, ending up at 12-5 here. Now, with that said, have to go win the wild card game, right? Or it's all for naught. All of the awards, all of the accolades, all of the narratives, all of the think pieces, all of everything I just said is words, and words are not wins. So it's time, and it's time to turn that switch. Baltimore is going to be an absolute show tomorrow. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy, but it is a night game in Baltimore. The scene around, Fed Hill, everything there is going to be a ton of fun. With that in mind, I wanted to announce the winner of the Exit 52 giveaway. We are giving away 2 tickets to the Ravens-Steelers game tomorrow. We did a giveaway throughout this week. We've tried to go live every day this week, and we had some fun entries for sure. And I did a randomizer here for it, to be frank, and the winner is at GM Brooks 42, Jerron Brooks, and here was his entry.
Exit 52 pod. The reason why I think this Ravens team will beat the Steelers this upcoming Saturday, multiple reasons. One, I think our defense with the move in the middle of the year is as complete as ever. The stats show that. 2, I think this is the most balanced offense that the Ravens have had ever, especially with top 2, arguably 1 running back in the league. And 3, I just think this is Lamar's year to overcome that playoff hump that he's had. So for that reason, those are my 3 reasons why I think the Ravens will get the win this Saturday. Let's go, Ravens.
So a fun entry there from Jerron, who had that on the go in the car, has the Orioles on, has the Ravens on. Congrats, Jerron. You are the winner of 2 tickets to tomorrow's playoff game. Please send me your email, and I'll be able to forward you those tickets, which I've already taken care of here. Interesting words here I thought of, just some random thoughts. I'm not going to go crazy long tonight. We'll obviously record tomorrow, whatever happens. Hopefully talking about a Ravens win. This time, I will say, Cole Jackson not staying with me this time. He got an Airbnb full of Canadians. So that's a little different. So that's a little mix up there. He flew in a real plane this time. We're hoping he took the right steps to cater in a Ravens win there ultimately. So Dan Orlovsky, let's say, pardon my take. I've listened to them sparingly at this point. I've been listening to them for years. But Dan Orlovsky went on there and he was like, the question was asked about Kyle Hamilton moving back to safety. And he was like, yeah, Marlon Humphrey wasn't very good on the outside. So that, I don't know, just a little tiny thing. He bugs me a lot, but it was a little tiny thing that kind of bugged me that he wasn't very good on the outside. I mean, Humphrey has played a lot on the outside this year still. He is not slot only by any means. I was honestly a little surprised. He has played more snaps there, so I guess it does make sense. He's played 302 snaps wide, in the slot 400, and they have him in the box on PFF at 124, so that's probably more. So maybe even a little more than I realized. But I think Marlon's done a great job, and he's out wide still, helping sort. And the communication, I think, is the biggest thing tomorrow. Being able to communicate through the crowd noise, Kyle Hamilton on the back end, being able to call signals, being able to command that secondary, having Marlon Humphrey, a veteran, up where he can communicate on one side and Hamilton able to communicate with Washington and whoever plays right cornerback on the other side. So that's going to be paramount. For all the talk of Lamar Jackson and everything, and Nick Wright also did a segment today, and I try not to do too many reactions to reactions. You know that this podcast hates that, but the sentiment from Nick Wright was like, he was like, do I think Lamar Jackson might not ever be as good in the playoffs as he is in the regular season? Yes. Do I think that means he won't win a Super Bowl? No. And he cited Peyton Manning. That Peyton Manning comparison gets thrown around a lot. I get it. Peyton Manning did go Super Saiyan in the playoffs a few times, but not nearly as frequently as he did in the regular season, which is what makes the Brady's and the Mahomes so special, right? But all of that to say, Jamison Hensley then from ESPN had a piece on ESPN. He did a quick 2-minute interview popping around the league, I believe for SportsCenter, and he said that the Ravens today played a video clip for the team, I believe. I know what the content was. I assume it was an entire team meeting, but played a clip where it was Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship last year, and he just said to the huddle, composure, composure, composure. And I feel like, I don't know, there's a lot of ways to think about that. It's obviously been the topic that everyone's talking about. Lamar talked about being antsy. So many people have talked about him pressing and why it hasn't looked the way it's looked, him himself. So I get that. And again, I don't, this is silly, but be yourself, right? Like keeping a cool head is good and fine, but be yourself. That's what I wanted to say about that mostly. But offensively, keep it calm, ball security, penalties, man. We've seen it for 2 years now. This team has gone 25 and 5 losses and 4 losses, 25 and 9 the last 2 years in the regular season. One of those games being playing backups against the Steelers last week 18. So we'll really give them a 25 and 8 there. And be yourself. Like, treat it in a way as another regular season game. This team, we know, beats themselves with getting behind schedule offensively. That can be fumbling the ball. That can be pre-snap penalties and procedural penalties. I think that's the biggest thing to watch. But I am very confident in this Ravens defense. I just can't find a way where the Steelers, without a special teams touchdown or a pick six or whatever, non-offensive scoring, can conjure 20 points. This Ravens run defense is outstanding. It has been. Roquan Smith has, since that move of Kyle Hamilton back to safety, more so, has been able to command the front, focus on the front, keep the front aligned, and they have prevented explosive plays at the same time, made plays on the football. Washington and Hamilton, pass breakups, contesting catches. I mean, Nate Wiggins has been great, man. He really has been super solid down the stretch. Looks like himself at Clemson. Looks confident in his technique, plays the football, physical, man. I think that's one of the funniest things about maybe this season, right? Like the 175-pound rookie corner, weight an issue, probably the only reason he slides. He's been physical. He's laid the wood at times. He's played physically and strong at the catch point. Size is not a skill, and you can see that in him. My Water here says Warren gets 5 yards a pop. Yeah, I think Warren is the good idea, and that's what they want, right? They want to try to rumble quickly, get into shotgun a little bit, and do those things. That's uncomfortable for them, though. They don't love to live in shotgun. They don't love to run that way. They like to be heavier. They use the most 12 and 13 personnel in the NFL, actually. I think it's about 27% of their snaps come out of those 2 and 3 tight end sets, according to Next Gen Stats. I can find the exact number, but I don't think that's the way they want to be, the way they want to live. So to get those 5 yards a pop, I think that it's limiting, and I think Warren does a nice job, and he's what helps move the football. Like that has been the most effective thing. So maybe we see Justin Fields. We've talked about that, but at this point in time, man, the only team that can win this, or that can lose this game, in my opinion, is the Ravens. The only way for the Ravens to lose is by beating themselves, especially on the offensive side. I don't know how the Steelers can pull magic out of their hat. They fizzle out by this time every single year. It's been in the playoffs every single year. And Derrick Henry was brought to Baltimore for one reason: to run the ball in cold weather. 4th all-time in rushing yards per playoff game. Had the most explosive rushes against the Steelers of any player against any team in any game this year. He had 7 rushes of 10-plus yards. And again, Deshaun Elliott was out. Larry Ogunjobi was out. That can help them. But the game plan for the Ravens, and this is where it's interesting for the Ravens on that side to me, is you want to play the Steelers out of spread looks. It can be 12 personnel. It can even be 13 personnel, but you want to spread the field and use shifts and motions and run the ball into light boxes. You don't want to fight them in a phone booth. However, when Zay Flowers isn't on the field, that makes things a little less scary for the Steelers. I think they're fine to try and, go one-on-one across the board and even bring another safety and have 7 guys in the box against spread looks and dare you to beat them downfield. They probably think if you're going to try to hit a deep shot that hurts them, you're probably going to try to do it to Rashad Bateman there. So I think that's the big thing for the Ravens at this point. And Jake actually just arrived, so I'm going to go let him in. You can go get in there, give a little sauce. Oh boy. So yeah, I think those are the big things. Jake just rolled in. We're going to go out and about, but congratulations to Jerron. Jakey, any thoughts on Friday before we go meet up with Cole here?
Thoughts on Friday? I don't know, man.
You smell nice.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I don't know. I feel pretty much like I did yesterday, kind of how we talked about, just sort of letting it all come to me, right? How I'm
composure.
Not so much that. Maybe I'm just like bottling it up and pretending it's not going to bother me, and then when the inevitable strikes, it's going to absolutely kill me. But as of right now, we're just clear of mind and heart.
There we go. All right, folks. Well, we're going to go have ourselves a little night, meet up with Cole, and hopefully we are talking to you tomorrow after a Ravens win. We did predictions in a more full episode yesterday. If you want to check that out, a deeper dive. Congrats to Jerron, to all the Ravens made first team All-Pro. Pretty cool, pretty fun. All those things are fun. Get people paid and add to legacies. So with that, we are going to get out of here. And again, we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. So see ya. And arrivederci from Jake.